Today I'm driving a sports car from the good old times, where building sports cars wasn't all about who had the most horsepower or the best aerodynamics just to chase for the perfect lap time on a racetrack. We are going back to 2015 today, where a sports car, well, it wanted to kill you.
This, ladies and gentlemen, is an Aston Martin Vantage, but not any Vantage, it's the SP10 version. Only 384 of that were ever made, and it's exclusively sold in Europe.
This car is an homage to the GT4 Vantages that were racing, for example, on the Nürburgring. So the SP10 also has its roots on the racetrack, but it wasn't specifically developed there, and that's a good thing.
James May once said the Nürburgring sort of ruins cars, and in my opinion he's kind of right, because car manufacturers tend to over-engineer their cars completely just to do the best lap times. And a perfectionist car often lacks joy and fun when you're driving it, because they are simply too perfect. On the other hand, it also ruins the practicality to use the car on a normal road.
However, this Aston doesn't lack joy at all.
Let me talk you through some features of that car. 6-speed manual transmission. You could get this one with an automatic, but who would want that? You got rear-wheel drive and no track modes or stuff like that. And not to forget, a heavy 4.7-litre V8 right in front of you. Now that's a middle finger to all these over-engineered supercars out there. The problem with the Aston Martins from that era, in fact, was they all look a bit the same. However, with the Vantage, that should all change. That car is sportier, more muscular and more aggressive than ever. A proper sports car, not like any GT you would expect from Aston Martin. In the back there is a lot of carbon fibre down here, but also in the front. That makes the car lighter and more eye-appealing. Now take a look at that colour. Aston Martin calls it Onyx Black. And guess how many Onyx Black Aston Martin Vantage SP10s are out there worldwide? 6. Only 6 cars. I think it's now time to take a look inside of the Aston Martin, and I want to show you something special, how the door opens. When you open them up, they lift from the ground so you don't touch a curb with your door. Besides that, it looks more elegant. Aston Martin calls these the swan doors. Inside of your hand-built Aston Martin, everything is made from the finest materials. We have an Alcantara steering wheel, Alcantara everywhere on the headliner, and leather on the dashboard. You of course get an analog speedometer, and this is how you insert your key to start the ignition and engine. And just to let you know, you get a real handbrake right beside the driver's seat in your Aston Martin.
After that quick walk around, I wanted to continue with my driving, but there was a bit of an issue.
Well, it doesn't start. It just simply won't start up. It's funny because the display says pure Aston Martin, and what I am experiencing here right now is in fact pure Aston Martin, because reliability, well, that's another point. Come on, start!
After jump-starting the Aston, I was finally back on the road.
In that car you really have to know what you're doing, because otherwise that car will be gone from the road by the blink of an eye. It's not like a GT3 RS where you just put in some random idiot and he will set a decent lap time after some practice. No, that car really needs long practice. It's like a raw steak that needs to be grilled carefully by an old sweaty Irish pub owner to achieve perfection, or what seems to be perfection, because that car will always drive a bit imperfect. In corners the tail will break out and you will do dirty stuff with it. But that's the fun part about driving this Aston. It's imperfection, the unpredictability of what comes next. The SP10 is based on the Vantage S, so you get 436 horsepower, 490 Newton meters of torque, and that will bring you from 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in just 4.7 seconds.
Unfortunately, my time with this machine was coming to an end. So, how do you sum up such a special car? It's an absolute beauty from any angle. Sure, it might not be the most reliable.
Come on, start!
And even in 2015, its tech was already heavily outdated. But Aston doesn't care about that. They focus on how the car feels when you're driving it. You don't need to carry a smartphone on wheels when you just want to have fun. This car really shows what matters. The sheer grin on your face behind the wheel. Nothing else. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is exactly what's missing in a lot of cars today.